So I just received from Sri Lanka 2 new prototypes. I will tell you about them very soon. One is this, and this is the other one. Our prototypes are made in Sri Lanka because this way, when let's say that the sails are working great straight out of the bag after we designed them, it's just easy to start the production, because what we have here is exactly what they produce there. If we would make them here in our loft in Lake Garda, it would be different hands making them, different machineries cutting them, and they could result being different compared to what is then done in production. So it's very important for us to produce all our prototypes in production, also because the speed that the sails can be done and the precision is much higher than what we could do here. So we can have 2 sails made in 1 day and shipped by air, you know, and this would take like 4 or 5 days to have them by air. Normally we do even more. So this is just 2 of the ones that I want to look at now before the wind of tomorrow, because I like to rig the sails the day before because they're new. So I want to check them. I want to check that everything is fine, tune them so that I don't waste my time when it's windy. And I think it's something which is important also for you guys, you know, when you receive a new sail, not to go to the beach the first day that is windy to rig them for the first time. I think it's nice to take time at home to tune them, look at them, rig them perfectly, ask advices, and this way when you go then on the beach, you know, you just rig it as you know. It takes you 5 minutes and you're on the water having fun directly, not having to struggle to know how much downhaul worked, how much tension on the buttons and things like that, or maybe you're missing a part for that rig. So that's what I'm going to do now with these 2 sails. The sails are exactly 2 AC1s LTD, so the racing sails, and it's a new size. It's an 8.2, and I have 2 of them. The bags are of course black with nothing written on them, just like the cars with no logos. And one, I don't know which one of the 2, but one will rig with the 460 mast and one will rig with the 490 mast. The A2 is a size that is kind of nice, because nowadays a lot of guys are not racing in real extreme light wind conditions due to foiling, and a lot of people are choosing not to have the 85 wide board, but boards which are more like 77, 80 wide, and the A2 is just the perfect size to fit on this type of boards. You can of course use it also on 85 wide boards, but they would actually fit from a 70 centimeter wide board up to an 85. So there's a big range of boards that can be used with this size for light wind. And 8.8 can be big for some of the people. 7.8 could be just a touch too small, and the 8.2 could be the right size to have it like the bigger sail. And then from 8.2 you could then choose a 7.0, a 5.4, and with 3 sails having the full range of wind that you need to go from let's say 12 knots up to 40 knots. So I've asked in production to put 2 tags on them so I would know which sail is which, but they didn't do it. So I will have to find out by rigging them. Well, what I can tell you is that there is also the spare button on our prototypes. The next thing is unrolling them. The sail is new. The smell of the materials, you can smell them just like new cars. Of course, we have no papers inside because we have to save weight when we send them by air. So there's a little bit less protection, but we actually do have the name and the serial number of the prototype here at the bottom. So that's nice, because then I know which sail is which. This is an A2 which will use a 490 mast, and this is an A2 which will use a 460 mast. This will be a little bit more like high aspect, so probably a little bit faster but stiffer because of the mast being stiffer, the 490. And perhaps you could have more drive but less backhand. This could have a little bit more backhand because the boom could be longer. It's a bit more squarish, so a bit more boxy shape. So probably a little bit slower, but because the mast is softer, can be lighter, more. It could be better to handle. So they're very different, and this is going to be fun to test because they're going to give 2 different results. And probably it's going to be difficult to choose which one is best, because both of them probably will go very good in their characteristics. Marketing wise, I'm sure that everybody would want that the one with the 460 mast works, and but we're not going to choose what marketing is going to be the answer. We're going to give you what is going to perform the best. So for us, performance is the first thing, wind range is the first thing. So the one which is going to give the biggest wind range, best handling, best performance is going to be chosen, and not because an A2 with a 460 mast is going to be easier to sell. That's not our way of doing things. So the fun part about having sails with no specs on is that you don't know how much extension to use. But from what I designed and what I think, this is the A2 with the 460. I would probably guess that the extension is 40 cm, while on the one using the 490, I guess that the extension will be shorter. I'm going to try to put it on perhaps 34 centimeters. To check in the extension, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the tension of all the buttons. So I'm going to put tension on all of them to check that the buttons are full inside. You know, I can, because the button pockets are transparent, I can also check if the length of the tubes are right. And what I do is I put tension inside to make sure that it's the end, all the way in, and then I release them so that there is no tension on them. And then I put tension again, just that I feel that they are just following the profile of the sail. And I do this for all the buttons. So I finally rigged them. Didn't take long. I also like to rig them and pulling the sails downhaul by hand, because I like to feel the tension of the mast. It's very important because you can actually feel how much tension to give to the mast and to the sail, because you feel the natural curve of the mast when you pull by hand. And when you get to this natural curve, which is like a constant tension when you downhaul the sail, then at one point it gets stiffer, the downhaul gets harder, and that's when you get to the right point. And from there you could pull an extra cm, because that extra cm actually gives the acceleration of the sail, and it's very important. So I have the mast inside, which I exactly know which ones they are, because I always use the same mast for testing to have a fixed point. Because if you use always the same mast, you always know, and you can rely that there's a fixed point that actually makes all the sails that you test having a reference. It's not that maybe you might think maybe this is not working because the mast is not what I know or what I use normally for testing. So I have like for each size a mast that I just keep on the side in the storage, and I only take it out for testing the sails. So as you can see, the sails are very clean, and the mast sleeve is nice. That's already a very good point, especially with the fact that we are using the monofilm X-ply on the mast sleeve, which goes directly attached to the sail body without any softer material in the middle, so that the sails are more reactive, they have more reflex, but at the same time, without having a soft material in between the two parts, you know, it's easier to get wrinkles on the mast sleeves. And just 0.5 millimeter difference or small, let's say, mistake, you see it directly. But as they look now, they look very nice, both of them. And of course, the sail with the 490 mast was stiffer to downhaul compared to the 460. 460 mast was easier to downhaul, the 490 was a bit stiffer, the sail to downhaul, but that's not a problem. We're talking about small things, and if you're using a tool, that's not really important, and if you have power to do it by hand, I'm sure it's not a problem as well. The sails don't have so much laugh curve in general, our sails, because this way the mast is more able to breathe, and this gives a wide range as well. So the downhaul of the sails is anyway quite kind of easy to do, and we don't like to put too much laugh curve, otherwise the sail gets stiff. It works good only in stronger winds, so the wind range goes down, and also the mast is not free to breathe and make the sail comfortable. We obtain the acceleration through the profile, through the funneling of the leech, which I'm now looking for the first time, and I have to say it looks very nice. So I don't have to go tonight to the loft to actually work on it. It looks perfect. I can't say more than that for the moment. I just need to adjust a little bit the button tensioner. Okay. So here there's too much tension, I can see it directly. When there's too much tension on the buttons, you can actually see a bubble on the side of the buttons, and here you can really see it, and that's not good. That's a handbrake for the sail. Makes the sail feel heavy, it doesn't release, so it's better to just take out all the tension. Same thing here. I can see that this is the A2 with the 460. I can see that it's wider compared to the other one. Now that I'm looking at it, it's obvious that this is wider, sorry. So it's going to be probably a more powerful sail, but we have to see, because he has a 460 mast and not a 490. So mast sleeve also super clean, super nice leech, shining. I love it. So you can see how nicely the sail is opening, and mast sleeve being super nice, super tight, no wrinkles, smooth, nice profile. We need to check the spacers for the cams. So I put my 2 fingers just where the wings of the cam are. I move the camber up and down. It doesn't seem to move, so that's not needing any spacer. Here we have the same, and here as well. I'm not worried about that they're too tight, because we have a system in the computer when we design the sails that tells us that for sure they're not going to be tight. Maybe there's a chance of putting a spacer, but to make it more racy. Next step could be to put the booms on, but I'm not going to do it, because it's not that when you pump the sail on the beach you actually feel the sail, you know. You can get a small idea, but in the end, what is important is that the details of the sail and the leech are good, the profiles are looking good, you know, everything looks in order. So the best test is to go on the water. So less talk on the beach, more action on the water. So I've put the sails on top of each other. At the bottom there's the sail with the 490, and on the top there's the sail with the 460. As you can see, you can't see the sail at the bottom, which is the one which has the 490, because it's a little bit more high aspect. So the one with the 460 is a little bit wider. As I told you before, it's having a wider boom, longer outline, so it will give more power with the softer mast, which gives less power. And at the bottom we have the mast, which is the 490, giving more power, but a shorter boom, and as you see, it's more high aspect, as it has a longer mast by almost, let's say, 25 centimeters. The head of the sails are kind of the same, but then below the sail with the 460 gets wider, and we kept the heads on the top wide the same, because we want the sail to be light. So the head to be, if it's smaller, it just gives a lighter weight, and it's also faster.